Yo, holy smokes, we are back with another one. It's your boy Jose Rocks, and today we have another VGC Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. So today we're going to be ranking all the Pokemon that are going to be available for Regulation H as kind of like a preseason thing. We've already had, pretty much the entire month of August to kind of really play with a lot of these mons. So that gives me kind of like a general idea of where they kind of rank. But I do want to rank it before the actual season starts, which starts in about 2 days from recording this video. So the 1st of September. And, once we finish the first month, then we can come back and see, how well we did with the rankings and see if we were pretty accurate about a lot of these different mons and where they place. But for right now, we're going to go with pretty much the month of August of what we know so far. And we're going to rank them based on these categories that I have up to the top left. So our first tier is going to be the S tier. These are going to be the tier that these Pokemon that are in this tier, you must have answers for them. They're pretty much busted, right? Self-explanatory from that point. The A tier is going to be our next tier. These are going to be the ones that are good on every team. They're pretty much winners. These are going to be the Pokemon that you see complementing the S tiers. They kind of like round out a lot of teams and pretty much fill the gaps when you don't have too many other options to pick from. And you just want to balance your team out so it's still consistent. You're going to add a lot of these A tier mons to your team, right? Next we have the B tier Pokemon. The B tier are going to be Pokemon that play their role really well. They're reliable. They're not necessarily as good as A tier and S tier, but they're still going to be pretty good in whenever you use them, right? And there's something that they're usually really used to check other S tiers and A tiers when they become kind of oppressive, right? So that's what you kind of use the B tier for. Next we have the C tier. C tier is gonna be pretty much it's their niche, right? So they fit on one type of team. So these are gonna be the Pokemon that I feel like if they're on any other team, then they're really not gonna be able to function that well. But when they're on their specific team that that works for them, they can do really well into like different matches and stuff like that, right? So this is gonna be your C tier. D tier is gonna be pretty. They're decent. But there's something else that does its job a lot better, so it outclasses it. So it kind of makes it hard to make you want to use that Pokemon. For instance, like Politoed and Pelipper. Politoed is pretty much outclassed by Pelipper right now because Pelipper hits a lot of things that are in the format for really good damage. And what Pelipper likes to set up is like Archaudon, like Basculegion, Palafin, Rain for Gordingo, Rillaboom, Amoonguss. It just fits so well with a lot of these mons, and what a lot of the Pokemon they don't like to deal with. Pelipper deals with them pretty well. So that's kind of like what the D tier is. And then you have the F tier, which is don't use these. These are pretty much mediocre mons. We're gonna put the mons that I feel like you really can't make them work even if you try really hard. It's just really hard to get them to do anything, and it's unfortunate that some Pokemon fall into this category because they might need buffs. But maybe in like another meta game or something like that, they'll be better. But right now, it's just pretty mediocre. But just for starters, we're going to start with our Fire, Water, Grass core of the original trios. The original trio from the Kanto region, Venusaur. So I think Venusaur is, I want to say it's niche. I believe they're all niche. I believe they're not D tier, but I think they only fit on specific teams. I think Blastoise likes teams that like what has Indeedee, so it can go for like Shell Smash or like a Rain team. So it can have like the Rain Dish recovery, but you would definitely probably want to use some. I actually think Blastoise might be D tier because there's just so many better types that water types that outclass it. I don't even think it has a niche on Rain teams because there's so many other rain options available, right? And we're gonna pretty much breeze through these mons. I don't want to since there's a lot of them that we're gonna have to rank. I don't want to make the video like 2-3 hours long, so we're probably not gonna be going to showdown to like break down any sets for these Pokemon. But if it's a specific Pokemon that you see that is ranked somewhere that you think that is appropriate, and you want to get some ideas on what sets to build with that Pokemon, just leave a comment below and I'll give you some ideas on where you can start to team build around it and things like that. We have Arbok. So Arbok is going to be D tier for me. It's one thing that it can do is that it gets Intimidate. It's a ground poison type, which is pretty unique typing actually, right? It might just be fully poison, as a matter of fact. Is it ground type too? Or is it always just ground terra? Let's see, Arbok. Sorry about that. Oh, it's just poison. It's not even ground typing. If it was ground typing, it would be really unique. I'm just so used to it because I've seen so many like ground terror. And I just said I wasn't gonna go to showdown right there, but I just needed to confirm that Arbok wasn't ground type. But I've seen so much like ground terror, earthquake, Arboks when I do see it, so it just kind of, you know, goes back to that playing like a ground type, right? It would be dope if it did have the secondary type, and I think they need to like make a regional variant of Arbok and like give it like ground typing, and I think it'll be, you know, pretty fun to use. But Arbok is such a classic, they might not do it, but we'll see. Pikachu, I think it's gonna go in C tier. I think it can't be anything lower than that because it does get the light ball. It does have a niche. It has lightning rod, so it can like work on rain teams. It gets fake out. It gets volt tackle, which can be pretty powerful with the light ball. So it has this niche. It can do pretty good. I think Raichu is a B tier. I think it's not seeing enough play right now because rain teams are so powerful. And with our Archaludon on those teams and like Goldengo and Amoonguss and Rillaboom, there's not really a need to like redirect electric type attacks because electric types are not that good in the format right now, right? But I still think Raichu does have a place because electric types may start to rise just to help deal with some of the rain teams that are going around. Alolan Raichu, I think it's C tier. It's only going to fit on those electric terrain teams or, you know, a side spam team with expanding force. But then you much better off, you know, probably be using Indeedee or something. I mean, Armor Rouge or Hatterene, right? With that being said, it might just be a D tier since it is kind of outclassed by them as a side spam user. And there's not any good electric terrain right now with a Miraidon gone. And even when Miraidon was around, you didn't see this Raichu. Sandslash, D tier, I mean C tier, Sand teams. This Sandslash, I think it's B tier. I think we're not seeing enough of it. I think it is very good next to Ninetales. I'm actually thinking about building a team around this. So if you guys are interested in that, leave a comment below. If you want to see like a Alolan Sandslash team, and I'll go ahead and start working on that. If enough people say that they do want to see it. Next we have Clefairy. Clefairy is really cool. I think Clefairy's underused right now. I think it's an A tier mon. I don't think it gets enough play with the Friend Guard and Helping Hand stuff. There is other options for like Friend Guard and Helping Hand with like Mouse Hold, which can activate. With that being said, Mouse Hold is so much better than Clefairy right now. I really don't want to put Clefairy here, but I do think it's B tier now that I'm thinking more about it. Because Mouse Hold also activates Annihilate, right? And Clefairy can't really activate Annihilate in that way, which makes it a better redirection user than Clefairy right now. And Clefairy's probably going down to maybe 3 hits. Mouse Hold's going down to 2 hits. But Mouse Hold is also offering offense with like Super Fang, right? So it does have its value even though it could take like 1 less hit than Clefairy can, right? Clefable, I think it's B tier as well. I don't want to put it in A tier just yet. I want to see how it, you know, goes with the season. I do think it can rise because of the Unaware. It is a good answer into Dondozo. It's immune to the Order Up, and if you go with Water Terror, then Dondozo really just can't deal damage to you, right? So that's really cool. And if it can hit you with Order Up after you Terror, but you just ignore the attack boost, so it's not doing much damage. Ninetales, Sun Team, great partner for Charizard. They both gonna be in the C tier. This Ninetales, I think it's gonna be B tier. It's the best Snow Setter, and I think that Snow has a place right now. It's just not seeing a lot of play just yet. Wigglytuff, competitive. It's outclassed. If you're gonna use competitive, using Polion, use Milotic. They're better competitive users than that. Vileplume, also outclassed as a Chlorophyll user. Velocum, same thing. Venomoth, D tier. This gets Arena Trap, so it has a niche if you want to use it like on a Paris Trap team. It's gonna get knocked out though, but it can trap things. It just can't trap flying types, right? This thing is F tier. Alolan Dugtrio. Persian, it gets Fake Out. I think it's D tier, man. It does get Fake Out, but that's it. Like this one now, this one's I think this one's B tier. I think this one's pretty good. It just doesn't see a lot of play. But Parting Shot, Fake Tears, Icy Wind, Foul Play, Fake Out. That's just all really good to like make a really good Pokemon, right? Berserker, I think it's gonna be. I think Berserker's D tier. Well, no, because Berserker has a unique ability. It can activate Goldengo and make Goldengo deal like a lot of damage, right? Which is something I actually use like in Regulation E, I believe. I built a Berserker team, and it was actually pretty strong next to Godingo, and also offers fake out, so Godingo can go for like nasty plot. So it does have its niche, and it fits on like those steel type Godingo teams that really want to, you know, spam make it rain. So it can fit in there. Golduck is outclassed. It's gonna be D tier for me. It doesn't have a consistent water move that does a lot of damage. Like get Surf and Hydro Pump. Surf hits your teammates and Hydro Pump can miss, right? So it's just better options than Golduck. Nihilate is S tier. It's gonna be our first S tier. I think this Pokemon is amazing in this format. I think it's something that you have to build around. You need to have answers for Annihilate, plus like his partner like Mousehold or even like Whimsicott, right? That can also get beat up. Like you need to have answers into this, and also you can run it just like a Choice Scarf Final Gambit Mon, and it can still like be pretty threatening right there, right? So Annihilate is an amazing Pokemon. It's really, they took their time when they built it. It's really good. Like I know it kind of like falls off a little bit when the power level goes up with like the restricteds, but even in the restricteds, if you really like Annihilate, you can still make this thing work. So imagine now that the restricteds and the paradox are gone, like this is a really good mon, and it's really hard to deal with in a lot of cases. Arcanine, I can't put it in D tier even though it's outclassed by Incineroar. I'm gonna just say reliable. If you just want to use Arcanine, it's not gonna be bad, right? It's not gonna be like it's gonna make your team worse. If you need Intimidate plus a bulky fire type, and you just really don't like Incineroar, want to use Incineroar, you can use Arcanine. Like it's gonna be reliable. It's gonna do what it can do. It's gonna burn things. It can snarl. It can howl. It is outclassed by Incineroar, but I don't think that it's a D tier mon because it can still function on like a lot of teams, especially if Incineroar wasn't in the format. Then you would just see Arcanine everywhere, right? The Hisuian Arcanine also B tier, similar to this Arcanine. I think it's just a little bit more offensive. It offers some different offensive coverage than Incineroar does, even though they have like the same base attack. But Arcanine uses more of its attack stat than Incineroar usually likes to invest into. So Arcanine can be really good. Poliwrath, outclassed, but it's probably better than Golduck. Belly Drum, Swift Swim is his only little thing it can do. Politoed, Politoed is an outclassed, but I'm gonna say it's a D tier. It's still, you know, a decent range setter. If Pelipper wasn't in the meta, it would be a lot better. But other than that, you're not gonna see, like you can see Pelipper on teams that are not just solely rain teams. Politoed you're pretty much only gonna see on like a rain based team, right? Victory Bell, very bad. Tentacruel, I think this is D tier. It doesn't do anything. Golem, D tier. It gets like a electric explosion little niche. I guess it can be pretty threatening. I actually lost to this, so I want to put it in C tier. Not in this regulation, but I lost to it in, what was it, regulation G? I mean, not G, regulation F. I lost to like this plus like the Rapska like combo, and it just came back and exploded again. It was the only time I went against that strategy, and I lost to it. So I'm gonna give it C tier because it does fit on those little, you know, the Rapska Garganical explosion teams that can surprise you. And honestly, it does a lot of damage when it goes for like the electric explosion. Slowbro, it's gonna be C tier. It's niche, fits on those Trick Room teams. It gets, you know, I believe it gets iron defense and body press, right? So it can like do stuff like that, but I don't think it's too good. This is gonna be, it does have a niche, but I think it's D tier. It gets, you know, quick draw plus quick claw, but that only activates 50% of the time, right? So that's still not even good. Slowbro, Slow King, you can actually put it on a snow team. So it fits on those like those Trick Room snow teams, kind of like you have Sun Room. It's like a snow room team. So it's pretty cool with that. This fits on side spam teams. That's pretty much all it's gonna do. It's not too much better than that. I'll put all of them in C tier because they're all pretty niche, in my opinion. I think that in singles like these are really good, but we're talking about VGC here, right? Magnezone, I think it's D tier. It's outclassed by like other electric types. It does have a very high special attack stat, but I just don't think that it's better than some of the other electric types that we have, like Palmot or like Electabuzz. Like you just rather use those, right? And Steel type, just Godingo, Archaludon. Do I have to say more? It's very outclassed. Dugtrio, D tier, F tier. Dugong, so it has a niche on that little Gloom team. Where's Gloom? Is there no Gloom on this list? There's no Gloom on this list, but it's in this tier. It has this little this niche where it goes for like Fake Out plus Horn Drill and What else? I think it gets like sheer cold too. So like sheer cold horn drill fake out with like the gloom, and it can like just one hit KO your Pokemon. So it has that little niche. So we'll put it there. Muck. I'm gonna say Muck is. It's D tier honestly. It's outclassed by the other Muck, right? This Muck is probably gonna be B tier, even though I don't like it. The strategy with Smirgle and Muck is pretty reliable because if you not necessarily you really need answers to it because it's not that common, but it can just beat you, right? If you just don't know how to play against that type of stuff, and in that case, if you are running Muck Smirgle, it is gonna be pretty reliable for you because a lot of people just don't know how to deal with it. Cloyster, Shell Smash, what's D tier honestly? Gengar. Now Gengar is really good. Like Gengar actually functions like the Flutter Mane in this format. I think Gengar is A tier. It gets Haze, it gets Shadow Ball, Slush Bomb, Trick Room, Perish Song. It gets all these cool strategies, and it has a very high speed stat for this format and a very high special attack stat. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Gengar. If you look at my previous video of my 5 rental codes that I posted, I actually built a Gengar team, and you're able to play with it and see how good it is. It did really well on the showdown ladder. Hypno, F tier. Electro, D tier. This Electro might be C tier. I think that it can be good. I think people just aren't exploring enough. It's the fastest thing in the format, and it gets Electro up, right? So it does have a niche. I think this one is just very bad, but this one also has like grass typing. So you're immune to Amoonguss, and you can hit like water types like Gastrodon because you don't just have electric type attacks, right? So I think that's pretty cool in that aspect. Executor, C tier, Sunroom teams. Alolan Executor, I think it's actually pretty powerful, but nobody's using it right now. I built a team for the Global Challenge around this on like Mamoswine, and it was pretty fun in Regulation F, but I haven't used it yet, so I don't know how good it is. We'll say it's C tier right now because it's gonna fit on like hard Trick Room teams, right? Hitmonlee, Burden. It's just outclassed by like Sneasler. Hitmontop is probably Hitmonchan is probably F tier. Hitmontop, I'll say C tier. It does get outclassed by Incineroar, but it does have its own niche. Actually, I think Hitmontop's pretty reliable. We'll put Hitmontop. It's a world champion, right? We'll put Hitmontop in the B tier. Wide guard, fake out, close combat, feint, all that stuff. It can be pretty annoying in it. And if you have like already a fire type on your team, then you can use Hitmontop as like your intimidate user, and it can thrive from pretty well. I think Hitmontop's actually pretty good. Weezing, this Weezing, I think it's gonna be it's B tier. I think they're both in B tier. You know, they shut down abilities. They can be pretty reliable if you build a team good around them. And a lot of Pokemon in this format use their abilities, so it's really good at shutting them down. Rhyperior, C tier. It does have a high attack stat, but it's only going to fit on hard Trick Room teams. You're probably never going to see it. If you do see it, it's probably going to be carrying a Clear Amulet because Intimidate is so good right now. So it's really not that good. I didn't even know Chansey was in the game. I'm shocked I'm not. I guess Shuckle's not in the game, so you don't really see the Chansey strategy. Chansey's F tier, man. Chansey and Blissey F tier. They don't have Shuckle, right? Shuckle's not in the game. So yeah, they can't do the strategy. So that's why Smirgle and Muck is the new strategy, right? Chansey's gonna be F tier. Kingdra outclassed. It has water dragon typing, so it's like Palkia or like Walking Wake, but in the rain. But Basculegion just outclasses them. Scyther, D tier, outclasses a bug type. Just use like Volcarona or something. Scizor has a niche. Well, it doesn't have a niche because Fluttermane's not in the format. So it's funny. I think Scizor is actually D tier. Since it doesn't have like a lot of desirable mons to hit in the format with Bullet Punch, it kind of just gets outclassed by like Gholdengo and Archaludon. Cleavor, I think Cleavor is pretty reliable. Rock Stab is always good. It's also sneakily fast. Like it's faster than you probably expect it to be. And sometimes it runs like Choice Scarf and stuff like that. So it is a pretty good Scarf user. And also it has a move that puts down Stealth Rock, which breaks Focus Sash, which is, you know, really valuable in my opinion. Bug Rock is really good. So I think Cleavor is a little underplayed in this format. Electabuzz, I think, is an A tier mon. It's one of the better redirectors. It also gets like Vital Spirit, so it's immune to Amoonguss Spore. And it also gets you Electrowell, which is really good speed control in this format because Electabuzz has a pretty high speed stat. Electivire, I'm going to say, is outclassed by Electabuzz. Same with Magmortar. And I think Magmar is going to be B tier. Oh, that's Glaceon. Magmar's B tier. I think it's not as good as Electabuzz, but it's still pretty decent. It's a good redirection user. It can use Vital Spirit as well, or it can use like Flame Body. And it's a fire type redirector, so that's kind of unique. And a lot of things can't really hit fire types really well, so if you kind of like remove like the water checks or just give it a good Terra, it can really stick on the field for a long time. It also gets like clear smog too. Glaceon, I've been seeing people use it, but every time I use it I just beat it, right? It's really not that good to me. Oh, what's my mouse way over there? But I think Glaceon is D tier. It's just outclassed in my opinion by like Alolan Sandslash. If you're gonna use like a snow user, or like even Excalibur is better than it. Tauros, this one's F tier. Well, it gets Anger Point. We'll put it in D tier. It does get Anger Point, so like crit strategy. Normal Tauros, we'll put it right there next to it. Normal Paldean Tauros. Blaze Breed, I think it's B tier. I think this Pokemon's really good. It's right there with this Arcanine, just offers the fighting coverage instead of the rock. And it can be pretty threatening to like our Chaladon. Same with this one. I think this one may be just a little bit better since it has water typing. It's like the pseudo Urshifu of this format. It can break through screens with the Raging Bull move, but it can't go through Protect, right? But it is that water and fighting typing, which is a really good typing. Gyarados, I'm not seeing more of it. I still think it's a B tier. I think it's good. I just don't know why we're not seeing more of it. But I think that as the format gets more bulky, I do think that is a good answer into range somewhat, and then you just realize that our Chaladon has Electro Shot, right? Which just, if it didn't have that, then it would be really good into that core, but it does. So this it's forced to Terra, and now you're forcing out your Terra just to deal with something like our Chaladon, and then Pelipper just probably hit you from that point, right? If you go into like grass or anything. So I think it's B tier because it gets Intimidate plus Taunt and Thunder Wave. That's pretty much it. Lapras is D tier. Just gets outclassed by other water types and ice types. Ditto, I'm not seeing more of it. I still think that it can be good. I think Ditto's a B tier. I think it may be C tier. I got trouble with this one. So I haven't seen a single Ditto, but I think Ditto can be good on the right team, but it's just not a lot of things it wants to copy. But if you copy a boosted Archaladon, then it can be a problem, right? I think it's B tier. I don't think Ditto's ever lower than B tier because it can single-handedly like just win you games. Vaporeon, D tier, outclassed. Jolteon, Quick Feet, okay, it's outclassed by Palmont. Flareon, it's probably F tier. I mean, it gets Guts, Flame Orb stuff, right? But just use Ursaluna from that point. Espeon, just use Armor Rouge. Umbreon, always going to be good. I think Umbreon's a B tier mon. I think that it can help you with a lot of teams that have like a lot of hyper offense and slowing them down with like Snarls and Moonlights and Yawns and stuff like that. It's just not seeing play just yet, but the format's still pretty early, right? Leafeon, Chlorophyll user, but it's outclassed by these. It can hit relatively hard, so I put it in C tier because it can go on those Sun teams. Sylveon, I believe, is a B tier. It's one of the better fairy types that we have in this format. We're struggling for fairy coverage right now. Primarina might be the best fairy. I think as far as offense goes, Sylveon might be the second best offensive fairy, but I think Clefable might be the second best fairy type in the format, but that's yet to be seen. Porygon 2, I think it's A tier. I think it's really good at setting Trick Room. Like it has old toy syndrome where it's been around so long and everybody's already used it, so everybody's trying to try the new stuff in the format that, you know, that's new to like Generation 9. But I think Porygon, once the format goes on, like you'll see those cores where this is paired with like Incineroar and Amoonguss and just be a really bulky core and kind of hard to deal with. Porygon Z, I think it's C tier. It's gonna actually, I think it's B tier because I got wiped out by one of these actually. It can be hard to deal with if it's on those Tailwind teams, right? It just needs the right teammates for it. It does do a lot of freaking damage, man, especially in this format. Even our Chaladon takes like over 50% from like adaptability, normal terror, like Tri-Attack or Hyper Beam, just does a lot of damage, right? And it can also run like Terra Blast too. Snorlax, it's only gonna fit on those redirection things, similar to like this. It's gonna go for Belly Drum plus like Custap Berry stuff, and it really can't do much from that point. It's okay. I don't think it's that good. Dragonite, I think Dragonite is A tier. Choice Band, Outrage just removes everything, right? Some stuff can survive it with just a little bit of health, but then you can just use Dragonite's teammates to pick them off. Unless you have a fairy type, like it's very hard to switch into. It's a really good mon right now. Meganium, I'm sorry, it's F tier, man. Typhlosion is going to be D tier. It's outclassed by Hisuian Typhlosion. Hisuian Typhlosion is actually an A tier Pokemon in this format. You can't fake it out. You can't really stop the eruption. It can play with a Ferrograph, so you can't like use like priority to weaken its eruption. If you try to use rain teams, it can play with a Murkrow and just set up the sun. It doesn't actually need like a Torkoal or something like that. And Manual Sun is really good in stopping like switch-ins, right? You can try to wide guard it, but then you can just have counterplay around wide guard or stuff like that, right? If you are running a Typhlosion team, I'm pretty sure you have some type of counter into wide guard on your team, so you don't lose to it, right? So it's really strong, and I'm happy that we get to have a format where the Hisuian mons actually can really stand out, because I think that all the Hisuian mons are really good. I don't think any of them probably lower than B tier in my opinion. They all have their own niches, and they're all pretty good Pokemon. For Alligator, Dragon Dance. If you're gonna Dragon Dance, just use like Salamence or something, or Sceptile get Dragon Dance. I don't know, but I don't think it's good. It's very outclassed. Ferret, it's a follow me user. Follow me is always valuable. I don't know what Ferret can do. I think it's outclassed. It is a follow me user, so it does have that niche. I really don't like to put follow me users in D tier, but Ferret is like the worst follow me user, right? It's actually outclassed by all of the other ones, but it still does have follow me if you do want to use it. Noctowl, F tier. I don't know. I mean, Tailwind. That's it. It doesn't do it. Tailwind Hypnosis. That's not really that good. Ariados, F tier. Lantern, F tier. Ampharos, F tier. I forgot this was in the game. This is actually a good Pokemon. I don't know why we don't see more of this. It's just so many good things that go on a rain team that you don't even see Azumarill. But this thing can still belly drum and go for Aqua Jets in the rain. Like, I think it has a niche. It's also a fairy type. We just don't see it. And fairy coverage is actually like hard to come by in this format, especially physical fairy coverage. You can run it like with a clear amulet, like a citrus berry. Like belly drum can be really cool, like Aqua Jet in the rain. But I still think it's C tier. It's only going to be on rain teams. I don't really see using this outside of rain. Sudowoodo, F tier. Jump Bluff, C tier. Not this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Jump Bluff, C tier. Fits on sun teams. Quillfish, it gets Intimidate, so it's not going to be F tier, but it is outclassed by other Intimidate users. Ambipom, it gets Fake Out. But if you're gonna use a normal type, just use like Ursaluna, right? It's outclassed. Sunflora, D tier, slow user of solar power. It can do a lot of damage under Trick Room, but it's just not worth setting up. Yanmega, I think this is gonna be C tier. It fits on those teams that use gravity strategies, but it can be pretty annoying and pretty hard to deal with if it's able to get off a lot of like hypnosis, and it gets like a lot of 3-turn rolls, right? It can be pretty annoying. Quagsire, D tier. It does get unaware. Clodsire, also D tier. Pretty unique typing though. Murkrow's B tier. Murkrow's a good, reliable sunsetter, rain setter. Tailwind, Quash, Brave Bird, Haze to get rid of Dondozo. It's pretty good in this format. Huntscrow, D tier, outclassed by Murkrow. Funny because it evolves from Murkrow and gets worse, right? It just needs Prankster, right? Then it would have been decent. They shouldn't have took Prankster away. Misdrevious. Not Misdrevious. What's this thing called? I know it evolves from Misdrevious. Miss Magnius, that's what it's called. Miss Magnius. I just don't see it that often. Miss Magnus, I think, is D tier. It's outclassed by like Gengar. Just use Gengar instead. Fergraph is very good. Fergraph's gonna be A tier. I think it's top of A tier. I think it might be the best Trick Room setter in this format. Like it still like stops fake out. It's very bulky, hard to remove. If it tears, you just concede the Trick Room, right? This is also F tier. Dunsparce, F tier. Let's see. I mean, this is immune to Spore, and it has unique ground and flying typing. Landorus is not in the format, so it does have unique typing, but I still think it's D tier. It's hard to put Gliscor there, but it's a cool Pokemon though. But I still think it's D tier. Granbull, F tier. It is fairy typing, but it's not good. Overquill. This is also pretty good. It's gonna fit on those rain teams. I'm surprised to not be seeing more of it, but Basculegion is just so much better than it right now, so it doesn't really have a place. Heracross, D tier, better fighting types, better bug types. Weavile, outclassed by Sneasler. Sneasler's is better, even though they don't share a similar typing outside of they don't, because it's poison fighting, ice dark. They're almost completely two different Pokemon, but I think it's still because Sneasler's a fake out user and it's from the same family line. I can say Weavile is pretty much outclassed by it, but I think that Sneasler's an A tier Pokemon. I think it's one of the best fighting types in this format. These two are like very slept on right now, and a lot of people don't realize how good they are, but I do because I built teams around them, and I know after practicing with them how many games they won from me, right? So they're really good. Ursaluna, I think it's B tier. It's a really good Trick Room sweeper, but I don't think it's A tier like this. I think this is like top of A tier. I do think that it should be S tier. We'll see as the format goes on, but I do think that people are getting used to fighting this because it was also good in the restricted format. So it's not like it's something that's surprising people, right? So people know kind of how to deal with it, even though it can hit like ghost types, right? Macargo, F tier, don't use that. Mamoswine, is B tier. Ice and ground typing can't be ignored. It hits so many things for super effective damage in this format. Rillaboom, Incineroar, Ursaluna, threatens all of them, right? Typhlosion threatens both of these with ground type coverage. Threaten this with ice damage, right? Threaten this with ground type damage. And this is just some of the stuff that we have up here so far, but it just threatens so many different Pokemon. That's a really good offensive coverage. And you can run it with like a Focus Sash or even like an Assault Vest, and it can do pretty well. Skarmory, F tier. Houndoom, Flash Fire, so it's immune to fire type attack, so it's D tier. But just use Armor Rouge though. Dolphin, F tier. Weird Deer, Trick Room plus Intimidate and Skill Swap. So it has a niche. It can do some things. Smeargle, that's gonna be B tier. I'm gonna put it right there next to Muck. Tyranitar, also B tier. Super bulky, super hard to remove. Sceptile, D tier. Unfortunately, Sceptile's fan favorite. I love Sceptiles. My first starter that I used in Ruby, so Ruby was my first game. But unfortunately it's a D tier right now. Blaziken, it has a niche speed boost, Swords Dance, but it's kind of easy to kind of play around it. But I do think it's probably a C tier. Swampert. I'm just gonna put all three of them in D tier because it does get like unburdened, so it can work on like psychic terrain, grassy terrain, electric terrains type stuff. This also gets like yawn, pretty good typing, so they're all going like C tier for me. Mightyena, Intimidate, so it's gonna be D tier. Ludicolo, I think it's C tier. Grass water typing is pretty unique in this format. Shiftry, it's gonna be niche fits on some teams. It can do something, being immune to like wind moves, but it's not seeing a lot of play right now. Pelipper, we already know where this is going, right? This is S tier mon right now. It's crazy because Pelipper is one of the best Pokemon in this format. It's actually an S tier. It's really good right now, man. I can't understand how good it is. Not too much to say about it. Gardevoir, Fairy coverage is actually pretty good right now, so I want to put it in B tier. It's not seeing a lot of play, but it actually can hit relatively pretty hard. Gallade, same thing, is really strong. A lot of people not seeing a lot of play, but it is one of the good answers into our Charlotte, hitting it with fighting coverage, forcing it to terror, right? Masquerain gets Intimidate, D tier. Braylon, you're much better off just using a Mungus. It is fighting type, so I would say it's probably C tier because it can spore you in, Mac punch you. It's pretty cool. Slay King, let's say it's C tier. Fits on those wheezing teams. It's not too good, but it's not too bad. Hariyama, Hard Trick Room, I think it's C tier still. Probopass, F tier. Sableye always going to be a C tier mon, always going to fit on the Sableye teams. Metacham, just really get fake out huge power. Just use like Nian Chao or something, it's a lot better. Plosel, Mining, Volbeat, it's actually pretty good. I'm going to say it's reliable. It's a Tailwind user that gets a lot of fun things that it can do with Prankster as well as Ilamis. I think Ilamis is a little bit better. It's right up there with like Murkrow. Whimsicott outclasses it, but you can still use this really good. I was actually playing with it too, and it felt really strong. But of course, Whimsicott feels better. But sometimes Whimsicott can't hit grass types for a lot of damage, and this can really like threaten grass types with Bug Buzz. Swalot, F tier. Camprupt, F tier. Torkoal, B tier. It's really good. Sunsetter, Trick Room Sweeper. Grumpig, F tier. Flygun, C tier. Levitate, Ground Dragon type is pretty good. Um, I don't think it's that good yet, but I do want to build a team around Flygon though, because it's such a cool looking Pokemon. I would love to play with it. Uh, Cactrine, F tier, don't use that. Just get Sucker Punch. Altaria actually lost to this yesterday when I was playing against it. It can pretty much disrupt like weather teams and kind of mess with Archaludon a little bit. You can tear it and it's pretty bulky, so I think that is actually pretty B tier because it's like a Rayquaza, like it stops weather with Cloud9, so I think it could be pretty cool like that. And actually, where's Golduck? Golduck is Cloud9 too, so since it gets that, if you just actually don't run this on a rain team, I think it can be C team and be kind of niche. Because you can use Cloud9 with Golduck too. Zangoose, I love Zangoose, but it's a D tier mon. You can go for like, Facade with the poison orb or something like that. Or just use Barcelona. Viper, F tier, is not good at all. Wishcast, Dragon Dance, F tier. Crawdaunt, mm, F tier. Milotic, Milotic is going to be B tier for me. This Pokemon is a good Incineroar counter. Bayonet, F tier, don't use that. Dusclops should be seeing more play. I think it's a B tier mon, just not being used yet. Dusknoir, F tier. This thing, Tropius, it does get Wide Guard, right? So it's a D tier mod. Because it can, like, if you like Tropius, you can make it work as your Wide Guard user. It's just other better Wide Guard users, so it's outclassed. But I don't think it's F tier because you can still make it work. Timecode gets Trick Room, Levitate, so it has a niche. Goes there. This thing gets Moody. Um, I don't know what you can use it with, but it does get Moody and Protect, so it probably D tier. All right. This thing can activate anger points. That's probably its only niche that it has, so it's not bad in that regard. Love this F tier Salamence. Very good intimidate user, very good typing. It's definitely B tier. Take a little sip of my water. How far are we? Are we almost halfway? Oh man, we're not even halfway. We got so many mons to do. We're already about 40 minutes in. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of speed run just to try to get some of these. Metagross should be seeing more play. It's definitely a B tier. This gets Shell Smash. I don't think it's too good, but the typing is pretty unique. I think it's niche. Infernape, my favorite Pokemon. Should we be biased or should we be honest? I think I'm gonna be honest for the sake of just being consistent. I think that Infernape is a B tier mon. I want to put it in S tier because it's my favorite mon, and I hit rank 1 with it, but I haven't chose to build a team around it yet. But I do think it is really strong. Fighting coverage is hard to come by in this format. Does have a good fighting type, close combat with max attack, can do some damage. It can also run a mix set with overheat and still do damage on that side in case it gets intimidated. With a focus sash is really hard to deal with. It's very fast for this format, and it also gets fake out, right? And a lot of supporting moves. So it can be pretty good. You just gotta find its right niche. I know I need to really focus on building a team around it. It's my favorite mod, right? I gotta show it some love. Empoleon, it gets competitive, so it's gonna be B tier for me. It is helps you deal with Incineroar. It doesn't really like fighting in ground types, similar like a Charladon, and also is weak to electric too, right? But a good terror on this, and this thing gets boosted up, it can really deal a lot of damage. Staraptor, Final Gambit, Intimidate, gives it a niche, but just using Annihilate. If you're gonna go for Final Gambit stuff, Cricketune, F tier. Luxray gets Intimidate, it's pretty bulky. It's outclassed by Incineroar though. Should have been a Dark type in my opinion. Rampardos, it has the highest attack stat in the game right now. So for that place, I'm gonna put it in D tier just because it can hit you hard. It just can't take a hit and it's slow, so it can't outspeed you, right? But somebody's gonna come around with a Rampardos team and get a win. I'm sure of it. But like I said, it's base 165. It has the highest attack stat right now. I should actually try to build around it to see, but I already know it's bad. Basculodon, it's F tier. Fortunately, it's too many 4 times weak, super effective moves. Vespa Queen, F tier. Attack order is not really that good. Pachirisu, very good redirector. Plus it gets Photo Absorb, so it can help you with some electro type attacks. It gets Super Fang, but it's outclassed a lot by Mousehold. But it is a world champion, so we're gonna put it in B tier. Floatzel is outclassed like crazy. It cannot take a hit at all, but it is very fast. But it's gonna be outclassed. Switch from user. Gastrodon, they put both of them on here. We're gonna put Gastrodon in B tier. Storm Drain is still really valuable. We'll put this one a little higher because I like the blue one better. But both Gastrodon are good. Leave a comment below which Gastrodon do you guys prefer. I prefer the blue one, but I know a lot of people like the pink one. This thing, Drift Blim, it's good against like with Tapu Lele, but there's no like only Rillaboom can really take advantage of like the Trick Room or like the Tailwind that it can go for, right? Like Indeedee, like why it can't set up Drift Bloom, like you're just not threatening any damage, right? So I think it's niche. It does have the Unburden and stuff though. Skunk Tank, F tier. Sucker Punch is not really that good. This Bronzong, B tier. Good typing, good ability. Trick Room, Iron Defense, Body Press. Spiritomb gets Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, D tier. Garchomp, excellent Pokemon. Very good typing, Dragon Ground. I think it's always going to be B tier in these like lower. Sometimes it can be A tier and S tier. It just depends on the format, but right now it's a B tier. Lucario, Inner Focus, Final Gambit stuff. I think it's decent. It's probably C tier though. Powdon, it's C tier. Toxicroak can have a niche good into those rain teams to help you counter them. I think it's actually underplayed because I think that it can do pretty well into our Charladon, or at least force it to Terra. I mean, its attack stat is not that high, right? But it does, have that immunity to water type attacks. But then Pelipper just hits it with a Hurricane, so actually, no, it's niche. Sorry. Lumineon, Swift Swim, I think it's F tier, man. It gets Tailwind, so I'll put it in D tier. Abomasnow, D tier. Completely outclassed by Alolan Ninetales. Rotom, this form is bad, don't use it. Rotom Heat, C tier. Rotom Wash, C tier. Rotom Frost, D tier, outclassed by the other Rotoms. There's a lot better ice type users. Rotom Fan, same, outclassed. Rotom Mo, also outclassed. Yeah, we'll put it with the other ones. Superior has his niche, but I don't think it's too good right now. Oh, we still got a lot to go. All right. Embor. This thing's F tier actually. It might be the only F tier starter. It's really bad. Samurai, actually, sorry, that's also F tier. Hisuian Samurai is pretty good though. This page is loading pretty slow. That's why it's doing that. This is Hisuian Samurai that's gonna be C tier. I think it can be decent. Zoroark, this thing is C tier. It can only trick you, but the other version of it is a lot better than it. Zipstrika, come on Zipstrika, do something. F tier. Escadrille, B tier. It's a good sand sweeper. Conkeldurr, C tier. Actually, Conkeldurr might be B tier. Like, it's a hard hitting. It has a niche. It can beat Archaladon. Let's see, Levany, F tier. Can't do anything. Whimsicott, definitely A tier. Best Tailwind Setters, really good mon right now. Encore, Lilligant, C tier. Sunteam. This Lilligant, fighting coverage, just better Lilligant than the other one. I think it's B tier. It's really good right now. This definitely F tier, right? Basculegion is just so much better than it. This Basculegion male, definitely S tier mon. Very had to counter it. This is the female Basculegion. I think it's okay, but I think it's outclassed by the other one by a lot. But I'll probably put it in C tier. Where are we gonna put Crocodile? It does get Intimidate, so I'll say C tier. Scrafty, Fake Out, Intimidate, C tier. This Zoroark is definitely an A tier mon. You guys need to be prepared for this. I also built a team around it. It's very fun to use, very strong, very hard to deal with. Cincino, I believe this is going to be D tier. Bullet Seed, Loaded Dice stuff, Chain Link. Gothitail, pretty reliable. Shadow Tag, B tier. Whew, there's so many Pokemon, man. Alright, let's see. We're going to put you here. You get Trick Room, but you're not that good. F tier. F tier. This thing gets Wide Guard, so it's D tier. Where did it go? Okay, right there. Among Us. Among Us is very good in this format. Gotta be prepared for it. It's S tier mon. Not sure where it just dropped. There we go. Among Us in S tier. Galvantula. Compound Eyes. I can do some damage as an electric type user, so I put it in D tier. This D tier. Chandelier. Flash Fire. It's probably better off using Armor Rouge though. C tier. Haxorus is one of the highest attack stats in the game. Can do a Swords Dance. I think it's gonna be C tier. It's kind of niche. This is one of the faster ice types. It does get Icy Wind, so I say it's D tier. Mian Chao, C tier for me. No, B tier actually. Wide Guard, Fake Out, Close Combat. It's pretty good in this format. This thing's, I think it's F tier, man. Like, it gets no guard plus like Dynamic Punch, but what's that really doing? It's not even stab, right? King Gambit, really strong right now. I think it's a strong B tier. Depending on how the format goes, I think it can be A tier. Braviary does have the niche of getting like Defiant plus being a flying type. I think it's B tier. It's strong. I actually played against it. This Braviary is actually really good. It's still B tier for me, but it can surprise a lot of your opponents. Let's see. It does get this gets snarl snarl plus tailwind, so I'll say C tier. It can work somewhat. All right, we're making progress. We're almost to Gen 8. We're in Gen 6 now. We're still in Gen 5. We're almost to Gen 6. Hydreigon, B tier, always a good user of Terra when the power level is low. Volcarona, excellent mon, excellent setup. I think it's a tier mon. You need to have answers for that. Moxie just made a really cool team with this. It did really well. I think Chestnut's a B tier. Did it Chestnut some justice. Delphox, I say C tier. I mean D tier. Greninja. This hurts my soul to put Greninja so low, but I think Greninja's niche. It can be kind of cool with the loaded dice stuff, but I think it's still a C tier mon. Talonflame, I don't see the hype on this. Everybody thinks that it's good, but to me, it's just a B tier. I know some people might think it's an A tier mon, but I think that it gets its Gale Wings broken too easily, then it's kind of like bad after that. Vivian, Pinchurin, electric terrain, so it has a niche, but it's D tier. Vivian, Frangard, let's see. I think Vivian is C tier. It does give Frangard a sleep powder, but it's outclassed by a couple of things. Pyroar, F tier. Florges, pretty powerful. It's a good fairy type, but just not seeing a lot of play. I think it's C tier. Go-Go has a niche that it can work with Rillaboom with like Grassy Seed and be like real defensive with its ability. I don't remember which one of these were the better ones, but I think they're both. It's Prankster plus like other shenanigans, right? But just use Grimmsnarl. I think it's this one that gets like the screens and stuff like that. I'm not sure. They might both get it. Malmar, Tipsy Turvy. It's pretty niche. It does get Trick Room though. Psychic and Dark is unique typing too. I think this is F tier. It doesn't really do anything. Cloudzer, also F tier. Halucha, you can do some burden stuff with it. It's okay. D tier. This thing also D tier. Iron Defense Body Press, D tier. Goodra. Goodra's D tier. It's outclassed by Hisuian Goodra. Hisuian Goodra is really good. I think it's a B tier mon. Klefki just use Grimmsnarl, but it is. I still say it's a C tier mon. So we'll put it in C tier for now. This thing gets Trick Room, and it can turn you into a grass type and let Torkoal sweep you. So I do think it has a niche on those Trick Room teams, hard Trick Room teams. This Avalugg, sorry, just F tier. We'll put this Hisuian Avalugg in D tier though. Noivern, Tailwind, Fast Dragon, D tier. It's outclassed by other dragons. Decidueye, D tier. Hisuian Decidueye. Now this is a good fighting type. I do think that it's B tier. It has a lot of good things that it can do with its ability. Scrappy, Ignore and Intimidate, and then Triple Arrows being like a broken signature move. Cineroar. How can we not put this in S tier? It's in Cineroar, man. It's one of the best Pokemon in the game. Primarina. I think Primarina is S tier. I think Primarina. I think Primarina is S tier right now. It's not. It's a lot of good water types right now, but Primarina is like the best fairy and the only like really good consistent fairy. There's also Whimsicott, which I forgot about, but like as far as like offensive fairy, like you got Sylveon, you got Gardevoir, you got Sylveon. Primarina. I think Primarina is the best. I think Primarina is an A tier mon. It might be a hot take, but I think whenever I play it, also gets haze, right? So it's also the Dozo counter in itself. It's very hard to deal with. I think this is the perfect format for it. What's this, Buchanan or something like that? Toucanon? I think it's F tier. It looks really cool though. Gumshoe, F tier. Vikavolt, Very high special attack stat. I think it's underplayed. I do think it's a B tier mon. I think this is probably it. It's so frail, but it's slow. But it's probably F tier. Ori Coco. It's a niche. It can work with like Quiver Dance shenanigans. I think they'll all probably go right there in the same tier. Let's see. I want to refresh my page and stop it from doing that, but I don't want to lose all my my progress. All right, but that's about right. Let's see. Speed swap shenanigans, D tier. Lycanroc. Now this Lycanroc is OP. I think it's a B tier mon. I think it's underplayed too. Oh no, that's not the right one. It needs to be the other one. This is the Dawn one, right? This one's D tier. Oh no, this is the right one. Sorry, yeah, this is the right one. This is the one that's B tier. Yep, there we go. All right. This one has the no guard Stone Edge, which can be pretty decent. I think it's niche, and then I think this one is D tier. Toxapex. Nobody really runs it, but it has that one strategy that it can do. The stall team. Mudsdale stamina. It's outclassed by our Chaladon. Araquanid, C tier. Fits on Trick Room Rain teams. Araquanid, it's actually probably a B tier, man. I think it does. It's one of the better bug types. It does play its role pretty well. Lurantis, definitely a D tier. Just use Superior. Salazzle, underplayed. Fake out plus fake tears, very strong, very fast. Also underplayed. This is a good format for it. Power level is lower. I think Serena is actually pretty good. All right, we're making progress, guys. Comfy. I think this can function really well on an Annihilate team. Underplayed. I think it's a B tier. Also gets Trick Room, right? Floor healing can't be understated. Rangaroo, also underplayed. Very good Trick Room assist. I think it's really good. This thing is Defiant, so it's okay. It's a Defiant fighting type. It can remove Incineroar, right? So, but I'd probably say it's D. Halasan, it does get that niche with Greninja where it can go for water compaction. So I guess it's okay. Meteor, F tier, don't use that. This thing can ignore Among Us. But there's other Pokemon that it's just outclassed by like Gordingo, right? Because it's always like sleep. But just use Gordingo, right? Mimikyu, underplayed, very good mon. I think it's a B tier mon. Very hard to stop it from setting up Trick Room. This thing also stops priority with the dazzling ability, so I think it's a B tier mon, just underplayed. Komo-o, not as impressed with it as I should be, but it's pretty good on the team that I built around. I'll say it's a B tier. Rillaboom, we already know where this is going. It's the S tier mon. Right there with Incineroar, with his buddy. We have a Firewater Grass Core S tier. It's pretty cool. Cinderace, underplayed, hits very hard. Pyro Ball can be understated. Get us a thing of Clear Amulet with Fire Terror, like, and it's hitting really hard. And it can change its ability. I mean, it can change its typing with its ability. Oh man, I hate putting this so low, but I think it's D tier. Yeah, I hate putting it that low because it's the starter that I chose to start Sword and Shield when I got back into playing Pokemon, and it just sucks that it's not much better. Rillaboom and Cinderace are so much better than it, but it's still a pretty good mon. This thing gets the belly drum plus like the cheek pouch stuff, but other than that, it's a D tier. Corviknight, bulky Tailwind, it's pretty good. Iron Defense, Body Press, ability Reflex, Intimidate, pretty good. I thought I would see more of this. This used to be good back in Regulation B and Regulation A, on those rain teams with the rock coverage, kind of like what Hussein Arkanon likes to do, right? But we're just not seeing it right now because there's so many other good sweepers. But I still think it can be okay with like I used to run like Terra Grass, right, and be pretty good. I just think it just loses to Archaladon though, so that's probably what it is. Colossal, it always has that one niche that it can go with, like Dragapult Surf or like an Aqua Jet just to activate its weakness policy and kind of like do a lot of damage. So it's always that. Oh wow, I forgot about this mon. It's just a bad Dragon Dance user. I think it's D tier. Applin, also D tier. Hydrapple, better than both of them in my opinion. Still D tier though. Sandaconda, also D tier. I forget this thing's name, but it has a pretty cute ability where you hit it, it goes for surf, and it has a Pikachu in its mouth, and it can paralyze you. Barraskewda, I actually lost to this thing. It's Propeller Tail, right? I think this thing's a B tier. I think it's underplayed right now, but it also can ignore redirection, right? It's actually pretty strong with a choice band. Toxtricity is also underplayed. It's a good bond. Hits relatively super hard, and we're in a format that actually wants for like offensive electric types. So if you're looking for something offensive that's electric type that's not Palmont, you should consider like Toxtricity. Like it's pretty good, right? And it hits surprisingly hard, and a lot of opponents aren't prepared to like deal with it. Poltergeist, Shell Smash stuff. It's outclassed by Sinister. Hattering, very good Trick Room setter. Very good Fairy. Also, Fairy coverage is really good right now. Actually, I think it's better than Sylveon because it can set up Trick Room and threaten with it. And it also won a tournament. So I'm sorry I forgot about it when I stated that Sylveon is probably the second best offensive Fairy. Sylveon might actually be third because Hattering is definitely a powerful offensive Fairy. Grimmsnarl, actually another good Fairy, but it doesn't really use its Fairy typing that much outside of Spirit Break. I think Grimmsnarl is an A tier Pokemon. I think screens are very valuable and they're not being used enough in this format. Alcremie, cute Fairy. It has Decorate, but it can't do much more than that. I think it's a C tier mon. Very cute Pokemon though. This thing gets no retreat. I just think it's outclassed by other fighting types. This is outclassed by Volcarona, but it is pretty good for like snow teams. So I'll say it's a C tier mon. Frostmoth. I haven't seen more of this Power Spot being able to boost things up. I think this is also underplayed because it can really, allow things to hit for a lot of damage, and it might help you like counter like Archaladon and Pelipper because it can wide guard. Well, wide guard is not valuable against that matchup, but it can hit Pelipper with the Rock Slide, and it also can power up like a fighting type or a ground type to pick up that one hit KO on Archaladon. It gets the Focus Sash, so it's not as easy to deal with, and it's like sneakily has a decent speed stat. This thing is very gimmicky. I don't think it's that good though with the Ice Face. Male Indeedee, it's okay. It fits on side spam teams. It does have its niche, but I don't think it's that good. But it can surprise you with its damage output if you're not prepared for it. Indeedee, A tier mon, one of the best redirectors in the format. It gets Psychic Terrain, enables a lot of different strategies. This thing gets the Hunger Switch. It has a really cool signature move, the Aura Will or whatever, but I still think it's D tier. Where are we going with you? Sheer Force. Sheer Force, Play Rough, and like a lot of different like moves that take advantage of Sheer Force. With a Life Orb, this thing can do like pretty good damage. Archaladon. So we already know where this is going. This is probably the best Pokemon in the game right now. Definitely S tier. Very hard to deal with. Very meta. Not a lot of counters, or not a lot of counters that are found for it yet. It's a really good mon. Dragapult, fastest thing in a format that's viable. I think it's an A tier mon. Put a choice band on this, and it's just hitting so hard, right? It's really good in my opinion. Meowscarada should see more play. Very underrated. Flower Trick being like pseudo Urshifu but grass type. I think it's a B tier though. Can't put it any higher than that. Skeledirge, also B tier. Good Dondozo answer. Torch Song is actually surprisingly very spammable. Should see more play, but it's not. But we'll put it in B tier for now. Quasquevo, it is that fighting and water type that we really want. But I think it's C tier. I don't. Well, it does get Aqua Step, man. I think that this thing is good, man. I've seen it sweep before. It just takes a lot of setup, right? But if you can knock something out with Aqua Jet and get a Moxie boost, then this thing can really take off. Onkalone, I don't know what this thing can do. Honestly, I played with it before, but it's not that good. We'll put them both in F tier. I know they get like some body press strategy with an ability or something like that. Spidops, is it S tier? Is Spidops S tier? Is Spidops the best Pokemon in the game, or is it the worst Pokemon in the game? We're gonna be honest here, right? I'm gonna put Spidops right there. All right, Low Kicks. Now, Low Kicks is also underplayed. I think it could deal a lot of surprisingly good damage. I think it's a B tier mon. I'm actually gonna build a team around it just to have some fun with it. This might be the best electric type in the format. I think Palmot's really good. We are definitely wanting for electric types. I do think it's B tier though. I don't think it's A tier mon for the simple fact that it is pretty easy to remove, but it is a consistent focus sash user that gets fake out, and close combat and double shot hit really hard. Mouse Hold. This Pokemon is so freaking good. It can do so many things. Population Bomb. I think Mouse Hold's an S tier mon. It's an S tier. I do think it's the best redirector right now. Beat Up to enable Annihilate. Follow Me. Population Bomb. Super Fang. Taunt. Thunder Wave. Like really good with Ghost Terror. Like it's a very good mon. Hard to deal with. Darkspawn, it's a niche Pokemon. It only fits on those teams where you're going for like Lava Plume with like Choice Scarf, Armor Rouge. Arboliva, don't know what it does really. Sets up grassy terrain, so it's not an F tier. But Rillaboom's it's very outclassed by Rillaboom. Squawkabilly, I don't know why they separated them. I believe this thing gets Intimidate, right? Yeah, it does. So since it gets Intimidate, we're gonna leave it in that category right there. Put it in D. Garganicle or Garganicle, however you want to pronounce it. I think it's a B tier mon. I think it's slept on. But it's also a part of stall teams. Armor Rouge, this Pokemon is incredible. I'm shocked that we're not seeing, this actually have question. People are having questions about how to stop this thing. It's really good. It's really solid on the trick routines. I think it's an A tier mon right now. I'll put it right there at the end of A tier. I think it's really good right now. I mean S tier. Sorry. These are not in any specific order. I do put Epsilon at the front, but I don't have these in any specific order about which one's better or not. Scarlet, hint, I have a Scarlet team that I'm working on, and it's actually playing pretty good. I think Scarlet is a B tier mon. I think it's slept on. Hopefully I can show that it's pretty good in this format. Belly Bolt, D tier. Cool niche that it can, do a lot of damage with electric type attacks, but it's not that good. Kilowattrel, underrated. I think it's a B tier. It's a fast, competitive user that gets Tailwind. Can make Incineroar pay for an Intimidates, right? I mean, it gets play rough, but it's a dark type, right? But it really plays like a fairy type. I think it's D tier though. It has like Stake Out, which can, annoy Incineroar, but it's not that good. Grafai, it's a prankster user. It's severely outclassed by like Sableye. And Sableye is already outclassed by Grimmsnarl. Bramblegas, C tier, has its niche. Toadscrew, I think it's C tier. It can function on like Weezing teams and stuff like that, right? Cloth, D tier. Shell Smash, it's all. This thing's niche, goes on sun teams, but it does have like spicy extract, skull villain, so it can do some annoying things. Ravska, pretty cool. Like I said, also niche, goes on those exploding trick room teams with revival blessing. The spatula is actually pretty good in this format. It's not just, it doesn't have to play like a niche mon. I think it's a B tier. Like the speed boost, it really does like do what Blaziken does, but just a little bit better with like Calm Mind, right? It's pretty cool in my opinion. This thing actually can do pretty well. It can break through Farigras Armor Tail with Mold Breaker plus Fake Out. I'm shocked it's not seeing more play. I guess it'll be C tier for now, but I do think that it has a place in this format. F tier, Wook Trio is actually really bad. It might be like, you know, right there with like the Spite Ops. This thing, it has the funny niche where it has like 3 stabs with like flying, rock, and dark. So it's pretty cool, but it's D tier. Palafin, not as impressed with it as I should be, but I still think it's a B tier mon. I think as the format goes on, we'll see. It has one of the highest tech stats in the game, but still takes a turn to set it up. Rev Room, not that good. I think it's D tier. Cyclozar, Baby Miraidon, Koraidon, I think it's C tier. I think it has Shed Tail. It's very fast Shed Tail. I think people are not using it as much as they could. I think it's a little bit better than people think. Same with Earthworm. Earthworm is definitely better than Cyclozar. It is immune to ground type moves. Wow, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, Earthworm right here. I think Earthworm is B tier. Glamora is definitely A tier mon. This one's, every time I play against it, like you really got to think about how you want to deal with Glamora. It's gonna set up this the poison which whittles your team around down, and that's very valuable in a format where stuff gets bulky, right? You really got to have some really good answers into that Pokemon. Houndstone, niche, fits on sand teams. I think this with Wide Guard plus fighting coverage can be pretty good. I think it's actually slept on because people try to use like the Co-Star ability, but using this with Scrappy is actually a lot better than people think. This use, I really want to say this is good, but I think the Sand Slash might be better, but it'll fit on Sand team, so I mean Snow team, so I'll put it in C. Fillet Away was supposed to be good with this thing, but it's not. But it still has a decent thing that you can use. It's usable. It's pretty bad. Dondozo, amazing Pokemon, right? We're gonna put Dondozo on S tier, right? Like you gotta have answers for, or you just lose the game. We'll rank Tatsugiri right with it because you don't see solo Dondozo anymore, right? You're gonna see Dondozo with Tatsugiri, and they're very hard to deal with. And it's something like I said, if you don't have answers for it, then you literally can just lose, right? Especially to that. We'll just put all the Tatsugiris up there. All the stretchy forms work with it. It's definitely in my, if you don't think Dondozo is an S tier Pokemon, then you know you probably haven't played enough Regulation H. But literally, if you don't have an answer for Dondozo, your team just loses to it, right? Excalibur, very good Pokemon, very high attack stat. Very bulky, very good. I think it's probably top of B tier. As the format goes on, it may rise up to A tier. Gholdengo is one of the best Pokemon in the format. Right up there with Annihilate and Archarodon and Pelipper. I think it might be better than Pelipper, so we'll put that in S tier. And last but not least, Sinister. One of the first, you know, one of the biggest. Wow, it's really glitchy right there. It won one of the biggest tournaments, right? It's really good. I think it's top of B tier Pokemon. I think it can be even better the more people learn how to play with this thing. But it's a very good trick room user, just not better than Farigiraf. And Matcha Gotcha is a very broken move. But this is going to be my list, guys. This is my S tier. This is my A tier. Here's the B tier, C tier, D tier. And then we have the F tier. Notably, there's not a lot of mons in the F tier, so like there's room for you to like use some of these mons to try to make them work. It is a lot harder, but it is possible for you to do it. You just got to make sure you're building the right team. But that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe for me, turn those post notifications, leave a like, and let me know if you guys agree with anything, or if you disagree with anything. That's fine too. Just let me know so we can have a conversation about it in the comments. But that's gonna be it for this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, deuces.